Alrighty, aloha kakiako, Richie ko'o inoa. That means good morning. My name is Richie. If you can hear me, just smile because I can't hear anything you say. Alright, nice smiles you got there. Anyone been on the helicopter before? Anybody? Okay. Everybody got a video briefing in the office? Perfect. So the first couple minutes of the flight, I won't be talking to you. I'll be busy talking to the control tower. Once we get a couple minutes out, I'll turn the intercom back on, narrate the flight for you the whole time. You can see yourself on that monitor. You're live on video. Everything you do will be held against you for use in the future. So we're actually making a live DVD of this flight, so you're on it. Music's on it, narration's on it, the scenery, and you can get a copy of that DVD when we land. So we're ready to go to the island of Molokai. All we got to do is get our takeoff clearance, and we'll be on our way. Okay, back on the air with you. We're starting to get a little ways away from the airport traffic area. So we're just passing the two main towns of the island out to the left of us there, Kahalui and Wailuku. The majority of the population lives right here in these two towns. Just offshore of my neighborhood, I can see our house at the end of the cul-de-sac, and I see my wife is home and she has no visitors. At least it's only our car in the driveway like it should be. You can see a lot from up here. Just coming to beam the Wai'ehu Golf Course. This is a county golf course. Cheapest place for local people to golf. Although the county doubled the green fees a while ago here, golfers weren't too happy about that. So when they doubled the price, that meant golfers had to start paying $1 instead of 50 cents for 18 holes. That's a true story. All my stories are true, but sometimes people can't believe that happened, but it really did. You can drive around this end of the island going northwest bound to Lahaina. About an hour and a half going this way. Most people drive the road on the other side of the mountain because that only is a 45-minute drive to Lahaina, depending on the traffic, of course. You can see the road just above this first cliff that we're approaching, this 400-foot drop there from the highway to the water. Cliffs are getting taller up ahead of us. Straight ahead there is going to top out at about 800 feet. That makes these the tallest sea cliffs on the island of Maui. Well, we'll be looking at the tallest sea cliffs in the whole world. North shore of Molokai, they plunge over 3,000 feet straight down. And they go like 15 miles in a straight line. But these are the tallest ones on Maui. This peak we're approaching, that's a 600-foot drop from this peak to the water. So the next one just ahead will be the tallest one at 800. We'll climb up a little bit and want to see the top of that peak because there's actually a house on the top of this peak. It's surrounded by pine trees, but you'll see the rooftop sticking up through the trees out the left window there as we pass it. So directly out the left window, you can see the house. Beautiful view from that home. Unfortunately, nobody lives there anymore. The owner, well, she was a chronic sleepwalker, but she's gone now. It was a really sad story. Really sad joke, I know. But look at it this way. The jokes could only get better. That's like rock bottom, so I have nowhere to go but up now. Snobshade Peak coming up next. We're looking at Kahakaloa Point. That's the halfway marker when you're driving around this end of the island. So when you drive past that peak, you know you made it halfway. The other side of that peak, we'll get a look at Kahakaloa Village. It's the only village that you'd pass through going around this end of Maui. It's a really small place. There's like maybe 20 houses in the valley there. So I did mention the road's paved the whole way, and it is, but there's a little catch to that statement. This gulch with the hairpin turn with only one house in the gulch. Left side of the gulch where the three vehicles are, road's only one lane wide. So if you have traffic there, somebody's got to back up or down the hill. You can't fit two cars on that stretch except that one spot there. So they widen this whole highway to 2 lanes except a little spot just before the village. I think the village people had something to do with that, or the people that live at the village. Scenic spot on the right, nobody here yet, but you can park your car along the road here, walk down those trails, and you can swim in those tide pools in the rocks. Some of the tide pools there 10 to 15 feet deep. Well, that's the way you could actually go in the ocean without going in the ocean, providing that the tide's not too high, of course. The other scenic spot going around this end of Maui is the blowhole. The blowhole is just a hole in the lava rock. So when the lava flowed out into the ocean, it left a hole or a puka in it. When the tide is high enough, which I'm not quite sure it is yet, When the big swells come in, it'll force the water through the puka. And the blowhole, it can spout 50 to 100 feet in the air. It all depends on how high the tide is. It just made a little spout there. Tide's not quite up yet, so it's just a little puff. We'll keep watching it there. What you do, you park your car along the road, and you walk, there it goes. You walk down the trail, and you stand around the blowhole, and you get sprayed by ocean water for free. That's known as the cheapest date on Maui. We've all done that. Well, there's nobody there this morning yet, but we'll make a turn around it. Watch for it to make a little pop. There, just a little spurt it made. From here it looks little, but that's probably about 20 feet in the air when it does it. There it goes, yeah. So probably another hour or two, there'll be 20, 30 people standing around the blowhole getting sprayed by water. We're pretty easy to entertain. So I took my grandchildren to the blowhole one day. That was a mistake. They wanted to sit on the blowhole. I'm going to make a right turn because I got real dizzy going to the left here. Of course, I would have let them sit on the blowhole, but then that may be the bad guy. I don't like to be the bad guy. Told them, you guys got to get out more. You're watching too many videos, I think. So there's the spot, just made a big blast there. There it goes. Wow. There it goes again. Well, that's all the excitement I can handle on one flight, so we're going to go across the channel to the island of Molokai. That's Pineapple Fields ahead and going up slope to the left there. I'm going to make a couple radio calls to the Kapalua Airport, let them know we're going through their airspace, and then I'll be right back with you. I got a good view of the super ferry on its way to Kahului from Honolulu this morning. We'll fly over that. All right, I got those radio calls taken care of. So super ferry, it's really fast. They say it goes like 40 or 50 miles an hour across the ocean. Carries, I don't know, like almost 300 cars or something, hundreds of people. I haven't been on it yet, though. You see the cars in the bow there. So it's 10 miles across the channel from Nakalele Point on Maui behind us to Cape Alava, northeast tip of Molokai. Soon to be straight ahead of us there. So Maui is behind us. That's easy to figure out. Molokai's in front of us because we wanted to be there. So down the channel to the left, way down there, you're looking at the island of Lanai. And I mention that because Maui, Molokai, and Lanai are one island connected underwater, known as Maui Nui. So since these three islands are actually one, the channel between them doesn't really get that deep, relatively speaking. Maximum depth of the channel we're crossing here is about 1,400 feet. That could sound shallow or deep, depending on what you compare it to, I guess. But if we made a right turn and we went a couple miles that way, it would drop to 15,000 feet deep, because there's no islands or landmass to the north of us. So that makes 1,400 sound pretty shallow. Same thing happens between the other islands, between Molokai and Oahu. Between Maui and the Big Island, it's more than 15,000 feet deep because they're separate islands. The main town of Molokai is called Kaunakakai. Kaunakakai is located around the left to the south side of the island. Can't see the actual town from here because we have to go around that far left tip of the island there. Once we get around that point, we'd have to travel another 20 miles westbound along the south shore to get to Kaunakakai. And actually there is a road that comes from Kaunakakai, follows the rocky coastline, comes all the way out here to Cape Halava. The road does not actually go around the tip of Molokai though. As soon as it reaches that flat land on the cape straight ahead of us there, cuts across Murphy Ranch, goes over to Halava Valley, and it switches back and forth down the steep valley wall, and it ends at the bottom of Halava Valley. Well, you can't drive beyond that point. At that point, you'd be at the tallest sea cliffs in the whole world, and cars aren't working too good out there. So the first valley we're going to explore is Halava Valley. Right now, there's not a cloud blocking the view of it, perfect visibility. Halava Valley was the very first place settled by the Hawaiians, who were the Polynesians that came here from the Marquesas Islands. Since it was the first place settled, naturally there used to be a huge village in Halava Valley. The village was there until 1946 when a tsunami struck the North Shore. 45-foot waves went up into the valley, destroyed the whole village. The valley was uninhabited from then till 1970. Few people trickled in there. But it's still a very small community. There's less than a dozen houses in Halava Valley today. Very few swimmable sand beaches on this island. It's like the primary reason the island hasn't become a popular visitor destination because of the lack of swimmable sand beaches. You can see the road down the coast to the left, moving up the mountain in front of us, and across the pasture and the ranch to the right as it heads over there to Halava Valley. So this is Murphy Ranch off our right side. It's actually one of the smaller ranches on the island. The big ranch on Molokai, that would be Molokai Ranch. That makes sense. That's actually at the opposite end of the island from us. When we cross the next ridge, that's going to put us in the middle of Halava Valley. First thing that we'll see entering the valley, we'll see the coastline, the black sand beach. Beautiful camping spot. You could drive out here, camp on the black sand beach, swim and fish in the ocean. You could even hike along the stream bed to the back of the valley and swim in the ponds that we'll see. So entering the valley now, you can see the coastline down there and the black sand beach. Looks like some people camping on the beach this morning. So this is the end of the road. You can see the road zigzagging down the mountainside off the right there. You can see how small the settlement is today. Less than a dozen houses. What used to be the largest settlement in Hawaii. So it is an easy hike along the stream bed to the back of the valley to the waterfalls. And we have quite a bit of water coming down the waterfalls today. Only thing that keeps the waterfalls flowing is runoff rainwater coming down the mountain. Well, quite often I'll see people swimming in that bottom pond, usually like on a Friday or a Saturday. Not because that's when we take a bath. There's just more people camping here. I take a bath on Monday. Wow, this is Wednesday. Might have to open that window for me. So let's say that you were visiting this island. You felt energetic. You hiked all the way back here, and you wanted to swim in that pond. You could do that. Be a real good idea, though, to perform very simple tests to find out if it's safe to swim. All you have to do is take a Hawaiian tea leaf and you throw it into the water. If the tea leaf floats undisturbed, it's perfectly safe to swim. If it doesn't float, well, you wouldn't catch me in the water, because you would probably come in contact with the mo'o. Do you know what the mo'o is? No. That's the Hawaiian creature that's half human and half lizard. There's one that lives in the valley. A lot of times it's just laying in that pond waiting for somebody. think I saw laughter. There's skeptics on every tour, but I never take that personal. I mean, why should I? I used to be a skeptic. It took me a while to get used to all the different Hawaiian things myself. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to have you prove that the mo'o really does exist. That's easy to do. For example, do any of you even know anyone that's been in contact with a mo'o? Of course not, because they never survived to tell the story. You knew that would be the answer. So we'll get another look at the pond. So the tea leaf that you throw into the water, that's spelled T-I, not T-E-A. Those are long, shiny leaves used for Hawaiian ceremonies, but lots of uses for tea leaves. They make hula skirts with tea leaves. Well, my wife, our 2 daughters, and 8 of our 9 grandchildren all dance hula, so we got to make a lot of hula skirts at our house. So we actually raised a tea leaf plant in our backyard. So naturally, when I'm heading out the door to go to work in the morning, I go to the backyard first and I pick some tea leaves. I do that because I can take a tea leaf here and throw it out this window, hit the pond, and check for the mo'o. But it was garbage day today, and my wife had me take out the trash cans, so then I forgot to pick the tea leaves, so we're out. But we can take a look in the water. It's a little bit murky because they had a real heavy rain last night, so you can't really see the bottom. If the rainfall just stays regular, they'll be clear by this afternoon. I would not want to go in here without doing a tea leaf test myself. So the village extended from the coast, came all the way back here, and then was destroyed by the tsunami. Wow, did you see the splash? I think it was the tail. We're going to head out of here. We'll go straight out to North Shore and get a look at the tallest sea cliffs on Earth, according to the Guinness Book of World Records. Now, when we fly off the edge here, oh, that didn't sound right. I'll put that another way. Let's see. The longest view that we'll get initially will be out the left side. That's just because that's the long end of the island. Both sides will be spectacular, plus we'll turn around, we'll face the other way. So we're going to get both views out both sides of the helicopter, coming up on the tallest sea cliffs on planet Earth right now. Out the left side, you got a perfect view 38 miles to the end of the island. Got the 38-mile view out the right side. So flying along the tallest sea cliffs in the whole world, what could go better with that than a perfect view of the tallest waterfall in the state of Hawaii? Straight ahead. We're looking at Kaiva Falls, cascades 1,950 feet to the bottom of the valley. We've been on a really smooth road, kind of like the freeway. You get a closer look at this waterfall. We're obviously on a county road. You can feel the potholes in it. Nothing to worry about. Just to let you know ahead of time. But it's an election year. They'll probably pave it, I suppose. Kaiva Falls forms multiple pools as it plunges to the bottom of the valley. Every line on the mountain in front of us there is a potential waterfall when it's raining up on the plateau. When the rain on the plateau stops, which it has, all these other waterfalls, they start drying up. A couple of hours, they're all gone. But the big waterfall behind us, Kaiva, I never saw it go dry. Comes from a different source, though. Comes from the top of the mountain range, which is almost 6,000 feet tall. Well, that's a lot of land to provide it with water.
Warm wind gently touch sunshine from the heart, descending in magic. Island in her eyes, paradise, calling you, calling me.
Somebody said that they were going to put another waterfall above this waterfall, but I haven't been able to check it out. It's been cloudy every day, but wow, looks pretty clear. Right now we could take a look. Oh, they did. They put a 1.5 up there. Look, I never knew that. Everybody still having a good time? Okay. We're going to head out of here because we got lots more to see. So Molokai is a long, narrow island. I mentioned like 38 miles long. About 10 miles wide at the widest point. Fifth largest Hawaiian island, covers 251 square miles. Population is about 8,000 people. Has the highest percentage of people with Hawaiian blood. The nickname of the island is the Friendly Isle. We're approaching the entrance to the Wailau Valley with the black sand beaches up ahead there. Wailau Valley is the largest valley on the island of Molokai. So people come to Wailau from Halawa Valley. They go along the coast. Small boats will get dropped off on the coast there. Some people go camping or fishing for days or weeks at a time. You can see some of the tarps just under the trees by the stream. Some people go further up into the back of the valley, get involved in a little creative agriculture. So we already know that these are the tallest sea cliffs in the whole world. Hawaii itself is the most remote landmass on the entire planet. So there's no place further across the ocean to another piece of land than to Hawaii. So that really makes this a remote coastline. Mountains constantly reshaping itself, and landslides. Had a huge landslide ahead here. That little peninsula didn't exist about 7 years ago. Mountainside slid into the ocean, filled up the deep water, created that little peninsula. Scientists came from other planets even to study that after that happened. Getting a bit of a rainbow ahead there. As remote as this coastline is, there is a family that lives on the tallest sea cliffs in the world. My wife is half Hawaiian. My wife's Auntie Joyce Kainoa, she lives on the tallest sea cliffs in the world. Auntie Joyce lived out here 43 years, raised 6 kids on the mountainside. Her kids never went to school. She said something about a school bus problem. I don't know what she meant. So she taught them at home. Her house is just over the ridge to the left there. I can see them. Lower left. You know, they have a cable stretched across the cove there. They have a boat in the backyard. They winch it down on the cable, launch it in that cove. So they go fishing out the front yard, and there's terrace gardens going up the backyard. How did they get the stuff out here to build the houses? 43 years ago, Auntie Joyce and Uncle Mike were actually hiking over the mountain, carrying a few pieces of lumber with each hike until they built a little tiny shack. But they could never build what they have there now by hiking, because, I mean, they've even got cement poured there. 43 years ago, a good friend of mine flew by that spot in his helicopter, and he saw the little shack. He saw them. He thought they needed to be rescued, so he landed there and talked to them. Try to make a long story short, he told them if he could store fuel for his helicopters there, when he does work on this island and comes in to refuel, he'd fly in the building materials for free. So they started that relationship. I went to work for that friend of mine about 15 years ago. The first time I landed there to refuel, of course, I met Joyce. Didn't have to talk to her for 5 minutes to find out it's my mother-in-law's first cousin. They were born and raised together on Maui in Kenai. Pretty remarkable family living out here on the tallest sea cliffs in the world. Local television station heard about them, sent a film crew out here. Film crew lived with them for a week, produced a 1-hour television special on it. It was on a local show called the Hawaiian Moving Company. That's a little too remote for me. Matter of fact, if I can't use my remote, it's too remote. Actually, I don't have a remote. My wife owns the remote. She sleeps with a death grip on that thing, I'm telling you. That's okay. Auntie Joyce, wow. Almost a year since I visited her. Gotta borrow a helicopter and bring her stuff. We're gonna head up Pelicuna Valley. They get so much rain on top of the mountain, it literally fills the mountain up with water, and the waterfalls come right out of the side of the mountain like they're doing over there to the left. So, well, those are not flowing from the top. That's coming right out of the porous lava rock. So light green trees scattered everywhere. And you'll see these light green ones all over Hawaii. It's our state tree. Kukui nut, also known as candle nut. It's called candle nut because the Hawaiians use the oil from the kukui nut to burn in their stone lamps for light. People polish the large black nut, about that big, make leis out of it. You've probably seen kukui nut leis. Most people do not know it's also a very powerful laxative, so don't eat too many. Or you could give them to somebody you're not too fond of, I guess. So straight ahead, we're looking at the back wall of Pelicuna Valley. So the other side of that wall would be the south shore of the island. It's a pretty short distance from the north shore to the south shore. We don't want to go that way. We like to go over the ridge to the left, because that'll put us in the Wailau Valley, the largest valley on the island of Molokai that we flew by the entrance to. Waterfalls over to the right. Back wall, they're coming out of the mountainside. When we cross this ridge, that will mean that you have been in every valley on the island. There are no more valleys. Going along the tallest sea cliffs in the world, seeing the only people living on the tallest sea cliffs on Earth. So what you've just seen, like 99% of the people lived on this island their entire life, never saw. For them to see it, they'd actually have to get an airplane flight to Maui to get a helicopter tour of Molokai, because there are no helicopters based on this island. So we're in the very back of the Wailau Valley now. So if we just kept following the contour of the valley, veering to the left, we'd come back out to the north shore. We flew along the entrance to it. But we don't want to go that way. We'd like to go out the back of the valley straight ahead of us as the clouds cooperate. If they don't cooperate, then we'll go out to the north shore again. So you can see out the entrance to the valley to the left there. We can see through, but we don't really want to go through the clouds. We'll just go the other way. Well, the main economy of Molokai used to be pineapple plantation that covered the middle and the west end of the island. Plantation closed down in about the 70s. They never found an industry to replace all those lost pineapple jobs, so unfortunately, Molokai has like the highest unemployment rate of any place in Hawaii. Not because people don't want to work, it's just because the jobs left the island. But the only way you could get a job on this island is to wait till somebody dies or retires. That's about it. So the middle of the island is a big flat land, and then the west end of it is pretty flat, and there's a big hill on it, but there's no valleys. Now, this is the only part of the island that's lush and tropical. Sometimes I see the mountain goats even out on the steep cliffs like this. Molokai has wild goats, wild pigs, even deer hunting on Molokai. Maui, we only have 3 kinds of wild animals: pigs, goats, and mongooses. And you're probably as happy as I am. There's no snakes in the state of Hawaii. Unless you count lawyers, otherwise there's no snakes. My wife and I actually spent quite a bit of time on the ground on the island of Molokai. On the way over here, I mentioned that Molokai is part of Maui County, the same island, Maui, Molokai, and Lanai, Maui Nui. It's also part of Maui County. That means that the police force for Molokai comes from Maui. Well, they could never get a policeman born and raised on Maui to move over here permanently. It's kind of like going backwards. So they always send the rookies over here. So my brother became a policeman a long time ago. So he had to move over here with his family for 2 years and do his tour of Molokai. I could go 2 years without seeing one of my brothers. I guess it's a guy thing, but he married my wife's sister. So you know what that meant. We were here like every month. Sisters just got to see sisters. So first time my wife and I came over, I told her, let's just drive on all the roads without stopping. See how long that takes. You can do that, cover the whole island in a day. And if you stop and look at things, it'll take you a little longer. Pretty small, quiet island. Let's say that you were hiking in the mountains in Hawaii and you thought you were lost. Don't panic. You can't get lost hiking in the mountains. You don't even need a compass to get out. You only have to remember one simple rule. Just keep moving downhill. Eventually you'll fall off the island somewhere. I don't think you can get stuck walking in circles on a slope. I hope not. The only thing to add to that, if you were hiking out of the mountain, you'd want to hike on a ridge. You wouldn't want to hike in one of the valleys. Even though it looks like a small valley, you'll be hiking down the stream bed, and then you'll climb down a waterfall, and another, and then pretty soon you can't get down the one in front of you. And the one you came down is too tall to get back up, and you're stuck in the bottom of one of those little valleys there. And the walls of them are so steep and slippery, you just might not get out. But the ridges, like, almost always go to the coast. So we're going to take to the South Shore to take a look at some of the ancient Hawaiian fish ponds built by the Hawaiian people about 250 years ago. Fish ponds consist of rock walls that circle out into the ocean and join back to the coast again. Nobody's used any of the ponds for more than 70 years. So what happens, waves knock down the top rows of rocks. Nobody puts the rocks back because they're not using the ponds, so a lot of the ponds are submerged.